Hello, folks. Welcome to Season 4 of our On the Call series produced by the Stars Among Us. I'm Ozzy, and I thank you again for tuning in to this thank you tour of mine, as each episode is a thank you card to someone who has impacted my life. And on this second episode of Season 4, I'm shining light on an old friend, young at heart, but an old friend, Rick Davey. Hello, Rick.
Hello, Ozzy. Hello.
Hello. So, folks, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Rick. Now I think it's 17 years that Rick has been working on his beloved Fashion Week Brooklyn BK Style Foundation. It's two different entities. One is a fashion show, the other one is a foundation that helps in different ways, which I'll explain later. Because I know he started in 2004. I can't believe it's 17 years already, Rick, but here we are. Fashion Week Brooklyn is a biannual fashion show.
This Fashion Week Brooklyn is a full week of events.
A full week, wow. Okay, so what he does is he showcases aspiring talent and also established designers, both nationally and internationally. The idea with what he does as a nonprofit to focus on building fashion entrepreneurship in low-income communities, working at leveling the fashion playing field, regardless of race, size, gender, age, disability. As a fellow Trini, I am so proud of what this man has done for his community, his beloved Brooklyn community. I think he's residing there now 15, 17 years, something like that. Starting off from immigrating from Trinidad like I did, pursuing photography and film production at NYU, to working music videos for Jay-Z, to CBS Forgive and Forget, to BET, and that was around the time that I got to know him when he was doing BET's 106 and Park, Rap City, The Basement, and now he is founder and a director, but he has an exec, a creative, a marketing, an international relations, an art, casting director, production director, and on top of that, he has international designers relation position, a beauty coordinator, volunteers coordinator, government and partnership liaison. So he has grown into a force that I know personally he works hard at every day, yet with a sense of joy that I have known no one have with hard work that they do. So let me describe what he does in terms of his nonprofit. That supports charitable organizations. There's a Denim Day walk that is done every April, where everybody walks in denim, and it is to bring awareness to sexual assault and violence. He shines light on poverty through his Soul for Souls Foundation. He works with MTV Staying Alive Foundation, works with Beauty for Freedom, Art in Motion Show, and he also works with social issues, human rights, HIV and AIDS awareness, community development, leadership training, sustainability initiatives. Sometimes I wonder where he finds time, but he's a man of community. He's got sponsors like Brooklyn Museum, just to name a few, Nyland Magazine, News 12 Brooklyn, Macy's, WeWork, Time Out, Bazaar, Vogue, and the list goes on. All of this being said, he has been a friend, a dear, dear friend of mine for many, many years, and I am so blessed to have him here. So I'm going to start with Ricky. Why was it so important to have a nonprofit fashion business instead of a, for-profit?
Well, for me, I think the nonprofit was more important because during my career as a stylist, working at CBS and BT and Viacom as a stylist for some of the TV shows, most of the people that I work with or the designers that I like to work with really could afford or had the opportunity to show New York Fashion Week. Back then it was called 7th and 6th or Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. And it was quite expensive, and it wasn't as open now where people are actually having shows off-site anywhere around New York City and actually penning it New York Fashion Week. So it was important for me when I started this to create it as a nonprofit to support those emerging brands, to give them a voice, as I knew a lot of them couldn't afford the high fees and rates that it would cost to put on a fashion event. So I thought if I started as a nonprofit, I could get sponsors and partners to pay into the nonprofit that would help to pay and support these emerging brands to showcase their work and help them hone their skills and their talent and bring them the items and products they might need to continue as a designer or as a creative in the industry. because it's a tough industry. The fashion industry is very tough. It's very hard to navigate. So I think most independent and young designers need someone to be there to guide and help them. So I thought a nonprofit would be the best way to go, as opposed to for-profit, because it wasn't about what I can make, but what I can give back.
Right. Yes, and you've always been like that. I have a question for you. We met when you were doing when you were with BET, but how did you get into that whole video business? I mean, because you began in photography, so what happened?
Well, I wanted to be a filmmaker, a director, and a photographer. So my time started off at NYU at Tisch School of the Arts. And that's why I kind of get into the film video making business. And then it kind of branched off. When I would shoot photos, I would want to always style and help the models or the designers create their looks. So that kind of lead me into the styling business. From that lead me to BET and Miss Universe and Miss USA and Miss Teen USA, doing all of those styling work. So it kind of like, not that something I saw in my career when I started, but you know how God leads you in ways that you don't understand and guides you in ways to get you where you need to go. So
back when 9/11 happened, and I was still back in the garment industry, and I did this fashion show called Fashion Mix, which was a combination of fashion, music, and giving back to FDNY. And that was a time with 716. With 716 they're pretty much straight lace, you know, the straight runway kind of thing that's happening.
Yes, yeah.
Now, what you're doing has that kind of feel where you're doing fashion, music, and giving, but your giving is on so many levels that is just breathtaking. You have gone overseas as well, to China and
from Paris to Greece. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you looking to extend this particular type of show in those areas? Is that where things are heading?
We are called Fashion Week Brooklyn, but we are a really international program. We just actually located in Brooklyn, but we have taken Fashion Week Brooklyn on the road. We have done shows in other cities. We are interested more so of showcasing international designers in Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is heavily diverse and culturally rich.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we kind of bring that into Brooklyn. So we have always included designers from Africa, the Caribbean, from Europe. I mean, we were one of the first fashion week that actually incorporated international brands, especially emerging brands that also didn't have a voice or couldn't afford New York Fashion Week. So we bring designers in from Germany and UK and Africa and the Caribbean and give them that opportunity to show at Fashion Week Brooklyn. So we have always been internationally based in Brooklyn.
Right. So
and now we have a program called Swap Across America.
Right, I was going to ask you.
We're actually swapping and doing sustainable work across the United States. So we just came back. We did Baltimore, we did Salem, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We have Chicago and Detroit and Ohio and Buffalo all lined up, San Francisco. So we are on the move.
Explain exactly what that is.
Back in the days when no one was talking about it, sustainability and eco-friendly. That's back then you would call it eco-friendly. But most of the designers that I work with, independent designers, were always sustainable or eco-friendly, because most of the time they couldn't afford to print their own fabric or their own textile. So they would actually use upcycle clothing or reuse fabric. So they were always sustainable and eco-friendly, and we have always had an eco-friendly, it wasn't called sustainability back then, eco-friendly part of our program. So one of my designer friend and I came together and created Sustainable Fashion Week, which only showcased designers who create stuff with upcycle and vintage. Now that we are in a space of climate awareness and saving the planet, we are very much aware of, consumers have to be aware of where their clothes was made and how it was sourced. And as you see, all the big brands are doing it, from H&M to Gap to Gucci. They're actually upcycling, taking back merchandise and upcycling those merchandise, which we would call reuse instead of upcycling. I think reuse is much a better term. So yeah, it's a very interesting concept, but it's a big way of us now trying to save the planet and the landfill of having people with buying fast fashion from H&M and some of the fast fashion brands. So I think we're all trying to do our best. So
is it a situation where people bring their things to you and you have things there as well, and then so you swap things out?
we're trying to create a new way of shopping. So instead of buying new stuff for your closet, we would create these swap events, and you would bring items that you no longer use or you don't wear anymore or you don't really like. It's in good condition. You bring it to the swap, and then you, instead of going shopping, you actually swap it with other people's items who would bring items that you might like. So it's a great way of not shopping and still updating your closet and having new items without having to, fast fashion. So instead of throwing the items away, because we do that all the time,
right?
We throw out our jeans and sneakers and shoes when it could be swapped with someone else to change your closet. So you have something that they don't want and they have something that similar, vice versa. Yeah.
I noticed that you have somebody big in your corner, Patrick Duffy.
Yeah, I started, he do global fashion exchange, and he's we call him the swap king. He actually started us off in the swapping, created all these amazing apps, which is like a blockchain kind of way of tracking where the item goes, who gets it, and where it ends up. So we could actually kind of track if it would end up in the landfill with someone else's closet. It's kind of like a global fashion exchange is really big. Patrick is a champion in this all over the globe. He's right now in Germany, and he's in Berlin and the UK. He's traveling everywhere, spreading this good swapping event. And we just decided that we wanted to create our own leg of it and swap across America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So back in the day, you and I and a couple of other people would head out to different places like Aruba or Barbados or Flavors. Yeah. I'm still looking forward to trying to do those short jumps just to relax a little bit, have some fun. Yeah. Being that you've traveled all over right now, you've been all over the place. Have you been able to mix your self-care with your work? Or is it a pressure cooker situation because you're booked up, on a regular basis?
No, I think one always have to take into consideration self-care, because that's most important. That comes first and foremost before you can do anything, any project or anything. You have to make sure that you're in a good space and a good mind, because you're actually literally working with other people. Be sure that you have a positive outlook and mental state to actually work with other people, because you have to be the inspiration for them. So it's very important to be very much aware of yourself and how you take care of yourself that could inspire other people. So it's very important to me, yes.
Right. And in saying that, what are the measures that you take to keep your mind, body, and soul fit? Because you're a fit guy. You have not put on an ounce since I've known you, and it's years.
Everybody has put on a little COVID ounce. Believe me, my middle is not what it used to be. As you age, no matter what, you kind of either gain a little bit. And, I'm not the gym person, so I don't really do the gym too much, but I do jump rope. I do a little bit of what I can do at home, because I don't have that kind of luxury of time to spend in the gym. I'm not really a fan of the gym, having to go to change my clothes. I'm not a fan of the gym, and I don't like lifting heavy weights. It feels like work to me, but I do like to stay active. So my active is really walking. I walk a lot, and that's why I like New York, because you can actually walk. You can go from one place to the next walking. In other states, everybody just drive, but in New York, you have access to walk, and you don't look like a crazy person walking on the sidewalk, You go to some of these other states, and if you walk, people are like, wow, somebody's walking. Why are you doing walking? I was just in North Carolina. It was interesting because there was very few people who would get off their car and walk from their car to where they need to go to, but not like blocks.
Right.
In New York City, I love walking. You can walk from 12th Avenue to 1st Avenue, from the Village to 42nd Street, and that's great exercise. And that helps keep the mind right. And then it gives you an opportunity to kind of sightsee and really kind of like really pay more attention to stuff that could really inspire you. Because if you're just driving or just in the subway, you really don't see as much. And I'm all about inspiration. And inspiration comes from everywhere. And I think that's the most thing that kind of keep me, I would say, stress-free and in a good mental state. From the building to the clothes to the people, inspiration is everywhere. And that's what I love about New York.
That was going to be my next question, because when we first spoke in 2019, you'd also mentioned your inspiration comes from your family. And so I wanted to ask you now where you are in terms of that whole inspiring world, you know?
Well, I think friends and family, I'm always inspired by the designers that I work with, the people I work with, the creatives that I work with, the social media that I look at, the magazine. I try to find inspiration everywhere, and I'm always inspired by every and anything. So I am not kind of like a one kind of focused person. I see everything as God-given and God-created. So I always want to look at it and kind of like figure out how it interacts with me and with the universe itself. So that's what's really important to me, to be constantly inspired and inspire other people. Whatever I little I can inspire someone, and however they can inspire me. So I'm very always open to listen and to learn, and I'm constantly learning new stuff and seeing new stuff. So, you know,
in as
like
much as you use that word learn, is there anything different that you've learned about yourself since COVID?
I don't know, because I really never really paid it any mind since COVID, but I think I'm constantly learning new things about myself. How do I deal with my stress level? How do I deal with people? So COVID just made it an additional part of learning, but I don't think I see it any different than when life was normal. I think we are under lockdown, but we always have to, in life, you always have to be able to be innovative and make those shifts and those changes. Whether it's COVID, whether it's your own mental state, whether it's, you have to constantly make changes. Where even if you didn't have COVID, you still have to make changes and adjustment with your life every day or every week or every month. It's a constant changing, because life is always changing. Every day is a new day.
I'm always inspired by you too. And to look at you and how you go through life that I could see on your IG is just wonderful. While I've gone through COVID here, there have been many people that have called me because they can't move, because they are afraid, because they're afraid to step out, a lot of fear. And when I look at you, I'm there for them in the best of ways that I can at the phone, or if I can get to meet them and talk them through things. But when I look at you, you're the one person I could say that has gone through COVID as though it didn't exist. And you've done it joyfully. Every picture you have, there's a smile. Everything that I see, there's an action that is positive. That it's so wonderful, really, really wonderful to witness.
I think we all have that in us. It's just a matter of how we all see the world view. But I think the most important thing is to have that faith. And I think faith kind of like give us that strength, putting that smile on your face, that always feel like there's always faith, there's always hope. We are human, so we always have to figure out, we can't sit down and cry every day. I mean, we'd love to do that, some of us, but I mean, you got to get up and go, because you have to have faith that the universe is doing right by you as long as you do right by others. I think that's most important, that you have to have that faith. Faith in God, faith in yourself, faith in family, faith in friends. It's all about the faith and the hope and belief that things are always going to be all right, no matter what is going on around you or in you, that you always have to have that faith that it's going to be okay.
And with that, I want to say you have been there many, many times in my life, ups and downs. But on this particular episode, I wanted to say thank you for being there for my son. When you would visit him and you'd come with your bag of goodies or a sketchbook or something, you always have a thought of what this other person might like and have it with you in your bag. Thank you for your positive words and the time that you took to come from where you are to him and therefore to me. And I really, really appreciate it. And I really wanted to say that to you today. And with that, I'm going to say to my audience, this is Rick Davey with Fashion Week Brooklyn. Thank you, audience, for spending your valuable time with us today. Please care to share. Remember, when you're on your beat, stay on the sunny side of the street safely. Be mask conscious. It's still real out there. And Rick, thank you so much for taking this time again. I look forward to seeing your bright smile on the IG. And I really, really appreciate your love and your friendship. I got to say that quickly before I fall apart. All of a sudden, I'm very teary. I don't know why, but thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you for being there for me also. Thank you for being an inspiration from your days with Buster Rhyme Clothing. I've been inspired by you for us flying to Miami every week to work with the shoe brand, our first set of brand, about doing the first GPS in shoes. I mean, we have always been there for each other, and it's about friends and family. And Keenan has always been an inspiration to me, even to see how he made it through. And, you know, you was always there for him as a mama, as a really amazing woman with all you've been through. So you are really, really an inspiration, not just to me, but I'm sure to countless other people. Your smile, your laughter that I can hear and track anywhere, your laugh is special. So it's all there for all of us. So it's, you know, it's a universe that we all love, and we all have to cherish and love each other. So it goes hand in hand, you know. You inspire me, I inspire you. So it's no need to thank each other, you know. It's just let's keep loving and inspiring each other every day as much as we can.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye, audience. Have a blessed day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.